300 meters inside. It's taken us 36 hours to achieve that. I had all my staff members, all of the dogs and cats, 300 meters inside the perimeter. We've gone through hell to get there. We've had Taliban cock their weapons and point them at our faces. One of them then had what we used to call the Marines an ND, a negligent discharge, where they basically accidentally pull the trigger. Where it's only a miracle that he's an absolute rubbish aim. Otherwise, one of us wouldn't be here now. And we got inside that airfield, and just before that horrendous attack, I think it was 2 attacks. I haven't seen all the news in detail yet. I've just heard of some of the casualty figures. We were told that Joe Biden had changed the policy on who is allowed into the airfield. And so my staff, even though they'd been given approved by the British government, the Taliban wouldn't accept their paperwork because they'd been told they could only allow people in with a physical passport with a visa in it. And we were at gunpoint again, so twice today I've had somebody poke his AK in my face. We were forced to leave the airfield, and just as we did, that's when those 2, I think, attacks, or one, like I said, I'm not sure, don't watch all the reports, happened across at the Abbey Gate, and then all hell broke loose at the airport circle, which is where I was, which is probably, I suppose, about a mile from where the explosions across at the Abbey Gate were. And we had Taliban there firing into the air. One let off a full magazine on automatic from his AK-47 right next to the window of our bus where we had women and children in. And as we're trying to then flee from the airport, we're getting tear gassed. So we're trying to drive the vehicle while we obviously can't see anything. It was just the most horrific thing. We've all managed to make it back to, obviously, our animal shelter here. We obviously then hear in the news reports of actually, there's deaths occurring at the Abbey Gate. And sadly, obviously, I've heard, there's obviously US soldiers involved in the casualties. None of this needs to happen. None of this needs to happen like it is.
And Pen, you're describing the 36 hours it took you to get into the airport. Help us understand the general circumstances around the perimeter of the airport in which this attack would have happened earlier.
We had to go through several checkpoints, Taliban checkpoints, to get to the airfield. You'll get stopped at each one. We were surrounded by 40 Taliban at the first checkpoint. I know that because I counted and watched them as they all got off the trucks to surround us. And they just held us for an hour, pointing these weapons at us, while they negotiated our onward passage towards the airfield. And then when you finally make it down to the airfield, there are just thousands of people desperately trying to get into that airport. And while I was stood there, clearly I stand out as a Westerner. And a guy came up to me, and he was like, "All right, mate." And I was like, "You're from London, aren't you?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm a bus driver." And we got chatting. He got his British passport out. He was just out here with his kids to see his family. He said, "Yeah, I'm with all that group over there." And there was about 40 of them, and I went over to chat to them. They all showed me their passports. They've all got British passports. There is no way they are going to be able to get home. There are thousands of people who are going to be left here who have every right in the world to get on a flight and come home.
Pen, help me understand why they're not able to get home. So they have their passport. At what point is that passport not enough to get them through?
There's certain checkpoints the Taliban won't let you through if obviously you're of Afghan heritage, but you've now got a foreign passport. At others, like obviously sadly the Abbey Gate, there's just a volume of people trying to get into that gate, so there's a big backlog, and the paras there, doing absolutely, the best job they possibly can in a horrendous situation they've been dropped into. It's not their fault, it's the planners, the people in charge of this disastrous operation. And then you go all the way to the top, don't you, to Joe Biden and the way he's managed this withdrawal. It could have been so well planned. You've got Bagram Air Base, which is one of the biggest air bases in this part of the world. They closed down 2 weeks before this. I don't understand the logic. I truly don't. And people are dying now because of it.
Pen, a little earlier you described